Hey guys and gals, I got another one for you today. Today I'm in my IS-7. We're on Karelia Rain Standard Battle, and you can see there's a lot of 8s and 9s in this match, not a lot of 10s. So being in my IS-7, I should be able to carry this game. And it isn't the greatest IS-7 game I've played. However, I wanted to feature this game because it's Karelia, and I love this map and this gameplay. Just because there's so many layers to it. So, first of all, we're in the north. So if you want to go to the choke on Karelia, you're going to go into the southeast corner. From the north, you go 9-0. From the southern spawn, you're going to go JK. And then you guys meet up somewhere in the middle there. If you want to tactically take the southern part, you really want to take the hill on the southern part, which is like H7, G7, G8, so on and so forth, that area. If you get tanks up there, you're essentially going to create a crossfire if they decide to push. Now, whoever takes that hill, the other team needs to get into a defensive location and just understand that there really isn't going to be an offensive push unless you have your whole team there, in which you would need to push it out hard because you'll get flanked if you don't. Alright, so if they take the hill, we're in G9. Really not even going to poke that corner because you're essentially poking into a crossfire. Now if you push out, you're definitely going to have tanks on your side and in front of you. However, even if you poke that corner, you're going to be in like a tight crossfire, which pretty much means you're giving up hit points. Second part of this map is going to be the northern part, and that battle usually is like C1 to A4, kind of in that little area. And to me, whoever goes in the north, you need to make sure that you push it all the way out, obviously pending on how many tanks you have compared to what the enemy tank sends there. It does get a little tricky once you get into like A5, A6, or alternatively E and F1, because there's a little open field there, so you have to cross that fast and preferably with all your tanks. That way they can't shoot one at a time as you cross. But if you essentially get tanks onto the base, you can spot all their snipers and usually ends up with a victory at that point. Alright, so enough of me babbling. Vision is really important on this map. If anybody controls the middle swampy area, that's kind of what glues the sides together. So if you win one side and you can get vision up on either hill, like the E3 to C5 line, or alternatively H6 to G7, if you get good vision on those hills and spot out for your team, it's really hard to make an advance across the middle of the map. So if you don't own the middle of the map, make sure you don't shortcut through the fields. You want to make sure that you're going around the perimeter of the map. Alright, so my lightweight went up the hill, and I decided, since I'm a fast heavy tank, I am going to take an advanced location. You guys know me, I love my advanced positions that can either give me really good games or get me into a lot of trouble. So there's the E50M, and I don't know that E50M should really take that position. That's more of like a sneaky tank destroyer scout with camo position. And really that position is useless if your team's not pushing. So you're just going to get spotted up there and essentially killed. Alright, so my lightweight's ahead of me, and I kind of want to stay back here just to make sure they don't have scouts that pour over the side of the hill, so like in a G7, and then come in behind him. And that didn't happen, so I'm guessing that they weren't set up to make that defense. So now what I want to do is just push forward. Like I said, I'm tier 10, I gotta make a push, we're down 2 tanks. And you can see I was a little bit too early on the scout thing. They got 2 scouts coming over now. I gotta keep that in the back of my mind. Hopefully my lightweight can stay alive while I do some damage on these guys. So I have cover fire as well. I get that E75 dead. My Emil kills the E50M. And now see, they play this position perfectly as far as now they start to fall back. Because if I were to push out here, they'd have Artie shooting at me. They probably have a sniper in J3 that'll shoot at me. Plus I have to fight these 3 tanks. So now what I want to do is come back and fight these scouts. I may have been able to keep my scout alive if I made this push a little earlier. We tied up 6-6. And now I'm just a little indecisive on what to do. So I believe we have the scout spotted in C6. It looks like he's making a run for Artie. And I know they have a few tanks on the K line. So what I want to try to do, Artie is important on this. So what I want to try to do is protect Artie, and if that scout decides to go up through the middle, we have a FE215B183 or Death Star there, as well as an IS-3 up in the northern A line, and our scout went to go kill the Sheridan, or alternatively the RU-251, but the Sheridan is on Overwatch and he kills our scout. So if this RU-251 starts to scoot across this line, which he does, I intercept him here, and I'm going to keep Artie alive. I do fluff my shot. He tips over. Get a nice shot there. Somehow I do not track him. And then our Panzer 7 kills him from the hill. Alright, so I'm full health. It's 8-7. We kind of have an odd setup here. So our IS-3 is holding flank on the right side, or north side, and then the rest of our team is like sniping on top of the hill, but making sure that we don't get flanked from the south. And I guess I'm okay with that. However, we're not really getting vision out through the middle, and that's because we don't have scouts, where they have a Batchat, a Sheridan, Centurion, and those are all good tanks with vision. Alright, so like I said, you don't want to shortcut the middle. You want to use the perimeters. This is a good example of that. I shortcutted the middle and I got shot. Luckily, I don't get Artie bombed here. But really what I wanted to do was work back to my IS-3, and he actually fell back. To me, he did his job, held the flank long enough, and like I said in pre-game, they really should have pushed the A-B line. Now, do they know that there's only 2 tanks respectively on base? No, they don't, but they'd find out if they would actually push it out. Whereas sitting back there, they've now allowed us to take the southern part of the map, lock that down, and then force them to push the mid in the north. So they have a scout making a run on Artie. The RIS-3 that had fallen back to C8 shuts him down. And now I got a Fatherland here. And I hit his track. At this point, I feel like we're in complete control of the map. Had they pushed the north, it would have been a little bit more difficult for us to reposition. Because if you get into A8 and you're putting pressure on the cap, you also, like, we would have had to cross E9 like I did, But if they have tanks up there pressuring the cap, you can just put guys where the heavy tank is in B4 and C5 and essentially just get free side shots on the enemy team. So they choose not to do that. At this point, I'm just want to collect some more damage. I'm kind of getting frustrated, missing some shots that should be pens. And I got the Centurion in front of me, and I got a Fatherland behind me. So Fatherland tracks me. I actually turn my turret so the Centurion comes out because he wasn't poking at me before, so I wasn't going to wait for him to make that decision. I had all my hit points. So had I had less hit points, then I would have maybe changed my tactic there, but I didn't care if the Centurion shot me. And I take 2 shots to kill that guy, unfortunately. But I do have a nice game going. 11 pens, 6 spotted target hits, 5 kills. And honestly, I don't know why I play any other tier 10 tank. This tank is so fun. It was my first tier 10 that I got. The stats are starting to come back on it now that I'm a better player, but when I first got it, I had tier 10 syndrome. If you don't know what that is, then you either have a lot of patience or you're just a better player than I am. Because when I got this tank, I was just uber excited. I had a 10. I'd been fighting them in my 8s and 9s and 7, tier 7 scouts. And I could not wait to get my hands on an IS-7 because I had no idea how to pen it. So I jump in my IS-7 thinking I'm impenetrable, running out into the battlefield and making a lot of poor decisions. Really getting frustrated on how people pen me so reliably. So tier 10 syndrome is where you think you are a god because you have a tier 10, and then you come to realize that other people have tier 10s and can balance out your armor, your gun, so on and so forth. So here it did 3,600 damage, 1,800 assisted, blocked 2,300. Got some nice ops going today, so I did 7,300 XP, took top dog. IS-3 that held down that flank did 2,400 damage. Waffle did 4,300. I good game them too. I felt like they were key players. This Cumwagon Panzer 7 was another essential player. However, a heavy tank sniping on a hill isn't going to get a GG from me. So just want to kind of go through the layers of Karelia with you guys. I know this is a longer video, but it was a lot of fun. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and I will talk to you next time.